Hey there.
It's nice to meet you. I'd like to thank you for coming to the interview for the bank teller position that's currently open. I will be asking you various questions relating directly to the position as well as your past experience. The interview should take about 12 to 14 minutes. During that time, I'll be taking notes just so that I can recall your answers at a later time. If at any time during the interview you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I may take notes as well, just so that I can remember the requirements of the position and anything that I might want to recall later.
Okay, sounds great. All right. Why did you choose Chase Bank?
I've had prior banking experience, and I've always heard great things about Chase, that they really treat their employees well, that they treat their customers well. And I really just kind of wanted to see what the buzz was about and see how I could help impact your company and your membership.
What do you know about our bank?
Yeah, I did a little bit of research, not a whole lot, just to be honest. But I know that you've had multiple mergers back since 1955. That you became J.P. Morgan Chase when you merged with J.P. Morgan back in 2004, and that you have had your corporate headquarters in Columbus, Ohio. And like I said, I have heard lots of stories just about how well your corporate treats your employees. So I would think that you have a very strong culture as well.
Yes, we do. Why do you want to become a bank teller?
Absolutely. So like I said, I've had bank teller experience in the past. I had stopped working so that I could finish my schooling, and I would really like to get back into that field just to be able to experience the influx of people again. I really enjoy interacting with customers and your membership, and I would really enjoy being that in that role with your team.
And how does this position fit into your overall career goals?
That's a great question. So overall, what I would really enjoy doing is being a leader of any type of team. Whether that would one day be a branch manager or someday even working in human resources, being in a capacity where I could train and develop people is what I'm really passionate about. I do think that even at a bank teller level, I do have the opportunity to be able to coach and develop even my coworkers at that time, just to be able to help them grow and learn of myself as well.
What would you consider to be your greatest weaknesses?
Absolutely. I would say that my greatest weakness is probably being a perfectionist. I have a very difficult time submitting any type of work that is subpar to what my level of excellence usually is. There haven't been too many run-ins with that where it's caused any type of deadline issues or customer or coworker frustration, but I definitely hold myself to a very high level of perfectionism.
All right, and what would you consider to be your greatest strength?
Absolutely. I would say that my greatest strength is being a team player. What I enjoy is being a positive role model and an influence for those around me and coaching and developing those individuals. So what I enjoy doing is being that accountability and that drive to help other people succeed.
Can you describe for me a situation in which you felt pressure at work?
Absolutely. So in my previous experience at my prior bank, there were many times during the holidays where we had lines out the door, especially on those days where Social Security and disability were coming in from the government. In those times, there were so many people in the lobby, and they were just waiting for me and my fellow tellers to be able to get to them. In those times, I felt an incredible amount of stress.
And how did you deal with that stress?
Absolutely. most of the time what I would try to do is address the crowd as a whole and let them know that we were working diligently to get with them as soon as possible.
Can you give me an example of a time that you dealt with an irate customer, and how did you fix the problem?
Yes, ma'am. So there was a time, again, when Social Security had come in, and this individual was waiting on their money to come in, and the government didn't deposit it. And this individual was so incredibly frustrated that they didn't have their money, and they were trying to look at us and say that it was our fault that they didn't have their money. In this time, I expressed to them that we wouldn't be holding their money, withholding that from them, and that the government just hadn't deposited that money for them. As the customer grew to a level of anger that I didn't feel that I could control, I messaged my manager to let him know that the customer needed to speak with them, just so that it didn't get out of control more than it already had.
Can you give me an example of a time that you made an effort to go above and beyond with customer service?
Absolutely. I'll have to think through that one here. There was a member that had come in at my previous bank, and they were frustrated that they had received multiple insufficient funds fees. What that meant was that they had gone into the negative and had received a $33 fee for each transaction that had occurred. In that moment, they were only focused on receiving that fee. So I went ahead and reversed that fee for them, which would have been just normal customer service. But in addition to that, I had a budgeting conversation with them to help them understand how to keep track of their spending and know where their accounts were so that they wouldn't incur those insufficient funds fees in the future.
I love that you gave them advice.
Thank you.
Have you ever had any experience with fraudulent checks and counterfeit bills?
Yes, ma'am. In my previous job, there were quite a few times where we had fraudulent checks. Yes, ma'am.
Right. And then, how would you handle a situation if you were presented with that?
Yes, ma'am. It needs to be handled very carefully, that's for sure. In those times, what I would do is let them know that there was something on the check that I needed to go confer with my manager just to make sure that I could deposit it. And I would alert my manager to the situation that the check was fraudulent or that the bill was fraudulent. In those times, there was protocol for how my manager would handle that situation. So in that moment, we were able to catch the fraudulent check or the counterfeit bill.
How familiar are you with Microsoft products?
I would say that I have a fairly strong hold on most products. From Word to Excel to PowerPoint, I feel like I have a very strong handling on. Access is not one that I'm very familiar with. I don't know how much of that would apply to my role as a bank teller, but I would be more than willing to learn if I needed to handle Access.
What would you do if you saw a fellow employee take $100 that belonged to the bank?
Yes. I would say that the first thing that I would do would be to confront that team member. If in that moment they decided that they were going to put the $100 back after being caught, I would let them know that I would still be needing to have a conversation with our manager, but that they did the right thing and maintained their integrity. If at that time they decided that they were not going to put the money back, I would immediately call for a supervisor or my manager to come and express what had happened so that they could immediately count their drawer and check for camera footage.
How would you convince a prospective customer to become a client at this bank?
Absolutely. I think that what's important in trying to recruit new membership is letting them know what the company can offer that's unique to this company. So what my goal would be to try to express what Chase has that other companies do not. So that could be products, it could be services, or even superior customer service that the clientele could potentially receive at this bank that they couldn't from other financial institutions.
Great. This job can be repetitive at times. So what would motivate you to do well every day?
Sure. So one of the things that I've already expressed is my passion for people, and whether that be the clientele that come into the bank or whether that be my coworkers. I would say that the motivation that I would receive would be the opportunity to motivate my team members or coach and help develop them in my downtime, as well as being able to have strong financial conversations with the clientele and help them reach their financial goals. So although the task of doing deposits and withdrawals could be very repetitive, I think that the opportunity to assist coworkers and clientele can change on a daily basis, if not hourly.
All right. Do you have any questions for me at this time?
I actually do have a couple if you're okay with me asking them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And in this time, I'm going to just jot down some stuff just so that I can make sure that I remember some stuff you said, if that's okay.
It's more than okay.
Thank you. So first, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to apply for the bank teller position. What I've heard so far, I really love, and I think that I'd really be a great fit for your company and being able to help progress your company's goals and vision. So first off, how would you describe your company culture?
Our main asset are the people, of course. We want to make sure that we have a diverse and inclusive workplace at all times.
Thank you so much. Sounds like a really great culture. There's not many places that really look to have that inclusive and diverse culture. I really like that. So what would you say are some of the company's goals within the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, one that we're working on currently is increasing membership by 3%.
Okay.
Something that's really important to us. It's one of our next steps that we want to take.
Perfect. So I guess if I were to get this position, how would you see my role impacting that goal?
Your role would definitely help with excellent customer service, enhancing that aspect of the job, and with your sales skills, being able to sell things to customers or keep customers.
Yeah, because it's really important to grow the membership. It's also important to make sure we're retaining them. I like that a lot. All right, and I guess the last question that I have for you is, if you were to pinpoint one of the most major accomplishments of the company in the past 5 years, what would you say that would be?
Our quarterly bonuses, they focus on helping the customers hit their financial goals. And we've actually hit our quarterly bonuses for the past 4 years, so that's something that we're really proud of as a company.
Perfect. All right, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. That's all my questions.
Thank you. We have a few more people that we need to interview this week, but I will get in contact with you at the end of next week and give you our decision.
Perfect.
So
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks. You have a good day.
You as well.